She's asked about Puja Swamiji's views on education and education preparing students for the wider world. Of course, I mean, you can't be working on any level for the betterment of society and not be committed to education. Whatever sphere you start with, you might start with water, you might start with food, you might start with shelter, you might start with medicine. Wherever you would start your humanitarian work, you couldn't get very far before you realized the importance of education. So the crucial nature of education is a given. You cannot have a change in society without emphasizing education. We run lots and lots of free schools throughout this area, in other areas, but the question becomes what type of education? And so you have to take two things into consideration. One thing is their actual professional career life. So that's when you say preparing them for the wider world. But, well, they also have to have a career. We can't simply talk about values and ethics and sanskaras. As important as they are, we have to look at the reality of a situation we're in. In an ideal world, we could all get by with just values and ethics. I might have apples, you might have wheat. I mean, really, we could go back to that sort of system. But it's not going to happen. And so the reality of the situation we're in is that an education needs to also include skills that are going to prepare them to get by in the world. You can't ignore that. We can't go back to, I'll give you some apples for your wheat and we'll just be happy and we'll love each other. So you give that, but you also have to give the values and the ethics and the sanskaras that are what make them the people who make up a society. A society is not made up of the number of doctors or engineers or lawyers that it has. A society is made up of the type of doctors and lawyers and engineers that it has. That's what makes the difference between one civilization or one society and another. So yeah, we need doctors, we need lawyers, we need engineers, we need teachers, we need manufacturers, we need all of the different components of society. But what will the people be like? What type of doctors and engineers and manufacturers and lawyers and teachers will they be? And that's where the values and ethics and sanskaras and culture comes in. So they really need to have both. And so, for example, in our Gurukul here, all of the beautiful Rishikumars that you see, we really try to give them a good balance of both. So they get the full education. They also get the Vedic education. So they also get all of the Karam Kand and the Shastra and the chanting and the scriptures and all of that. But in addition to that, they also get the values and the ethics and the sanskaras. So, as Puja Swamiji says, everything from culture to computers. And the whole spectrum, because if we lived in caves, you could get by without math or computers or reading or technology, but we don't. And so you have to give them that also. But it's not enough. Neither is it enough for a general society, nor is it enough for any of them individually. There's no person who actually feels fulfilled or successful in their own lives just because of how much money they make, just because of what type of career they have, just because of how high they've managed to reach on a ladder. Personal feelings of success and fulfillment are based on something much, much deeper than how much we've achieved on the material plane. So you also have to give them the tools for that, because when you realize that's the key to what's actually going to bring them happiness and peace in life, it would be a disservice not to provide them with the tools that are going to get them there.